Hey, what's up, and welcome to QnA, the show where I take your questions from YouTube and answer them here in video format. If you want to make sure your questions get answered on this show, please make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I upload. You can also follow me on Twitter if you wish, at Quinn_C. The links and all of that are in the description. I noticed a lot of you comment on the Q&A video itself, your question. I ain't going to see it that way. The way you're going to see it is subscribe, hit the bell, and answer on the prompt. When I put up, I want questions, that's where the questions go. But that bit of business out the way, let's jump into these questions. First one is from Wesley, who says, if we get another wide receiver like Jerry Jeudy, I am concerned that would completely phase David Bell out the offense. Here's the thing about David Bell, man. He's either he's gonna get it going next year, or he's not. We don't got time to wait for David Bell. If an upgraded wide receiver shows itself, they're gonna go in that direction because the opportunity to win is right now. And honestly, David Bell isn't somebody who will be replaced by Jerry Jeudy. David Bell is somebody who right now is being replaced because of the production you're getting out of Amari Cooper and Donovan Peoples-Jones, because those are the type of wide receivers that David Bell aspires to be. Jerry Jeudy is a speed guy. David Bell, not very fast. So I don't think he has anything to worry about. But the thing that David Bell should be worrying about is just finding a role on this offense, because a role is not going to wait for him to open up and be ready for it. He's got to be ready for the role that opens up that's available. So, he could be easily replaced by Mike Woods if it comes down to it and if he's not ready. So, nobody going forward, this coaching staff, it's too urgent. The Browns need to win next year, or else a lot of money gets wasted. So, nobody's going to be waiting on David Bell just because he was a draft pick, and he was only a third-round draft pick too. Next question comes from Johnny Van V, who says, which position on this team most needs an upgrade? If we're talking about what's going to get the biggest name, it's probably going to be defensive tackle, because you might bring in a Daron Payne or a DeForest Buckner or somebody like that. I think that you're going to see a lot of turnover at running back as well, and maybe a name added at wide receiver. But that's where I think a lot of the energy is going to be in the offseason. We'll see if I'm right or wrong about that. Maybe they add another tight end. That's definitely something that's on the table as well. Let's get to the next question. Tribe of Judah, who says, who do you think as defensive coordinator will finally bring this defense to its potential on a consistent basis? This defense has Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit, JOK, Jadeveon Clowney potentially. Perion Winfrey's look good as of late. You don't Greg Newsome, Martin Emerson. My point is, you don't need a genius to run this defense and have it be a well-run, consistent, good defense. What you need is just a new voice and a new vision, because the voice and vision that Joe Woods has been providing is not what the team wants to follow anymore. You have to start looking at other options and other people who could just step in and just be different. Sometimes just being a different person literally is all that they need to fill that role, because everybody's just tired of hearing the old guy talk. And I think that's where they've gotten with Joe Woods. He's going to provide, so whoever comes in, it doesn't have to be anybody overwhelming. They don't have to hire the greatest defensive coordinator of all time. It can literally be somebody you haven't heard of, and they're probably going to be able to go do a good job, because even Joe Woods had good defenses with this roster. So it's not very difficult, right? It's only difficult to not succeed, which is why everybody wants him gone. So, I would be wary of thinking that whoever has to come in to fill that role has to be a genius. They don't. It just has to be competent, right? That's all I want is competent, and competence can come from anywhere. And I don't need a list to tell me competence. You know what I mean? The next question comes from Bradley, who says, since you talked about needing a red zone target, depending on what happens with TB12, Mike Evans will be entering the last year of his contract. Do you think Cleveland will look into him? Yes and no. I don't know how much Mike Evans is owed for the next few years, but if Tom Brady is gone after this year, Tampa's probably going to be selling on everything. So Mike Evans will be available. And Bradley, you bring up a good point here. It's a point I tried to bring up a couple of weeks ago. Is every year there are guys who don't seem like they're going to be available around this time that absolutely become available. And Mike Evans is one of those guys who it could happen to. Thank you for the question. Next question comes from Glenn, who says, do you think Nick Harris is given the starting job next year, or does it belong to Posick, or would the opportunity be given? See, the thing is that we'll know the answer to this question by like what, April, to be honest, because either they give Ethan Posick an extension and it's his job at that point, or they don't go and try to get Ethan Posick signed, and it's Nick Harris's job. So we'll see what happens in free agency, because if they're both on the same team next year, it's probably Ethan's job. If Ethan's not here next year, it's definitely Nick's. So that's how it's going to roll. The question, next question comes from Parker, who says, hey Q, Victory Monday. Hear me out. You were talking about the need at wide receiver. There are guys that come out of nowhere on every team. I know you like DJ Shark, but should we keep an eye out for Brandon Cooks like we should for DeForest Buckner? Yeah, I think Brandon Cooks was on the list before DeForest Buckner was. He's a guy who's had experience with the quarterback. He's familiar with him. Also, he's explosive. He's not like a red zone threat guy, but he is a guy who can create explosives. And if we know with this front office, they're going to prioritize athleticism and explosive playability. That's why David Njoku has been re-signed. That's why he's been emphasized. That's why they went out, got Amari Cooper. They want to create explosives in this offense, and Brandon Cooks can certainly do that. And they lack explosives at wide receiver. The next question comes from MJ, who says, with John Johnson hopefully headed out the door, damn. Hopefully. He ain't been that bad, but I understand. Who are some good replacements for him? I think Grant Delpit is the replacement for John, because like the reason John's not useful right now is that Grant's better at strong. It used to be Grant was playing free safety and John was playing strong. And when John's playing strong like he did at the end of last year, he's pretty good at that. But the problem is that Grant's a much better strong safety at this point than John Johnson. He's more athletic. He has better instincts. He's a better tackler and run support. So that leaves John to play free safety, where he's very average. And honestly, you could get DeAnthony Bell to do that. You can get a aging vet like a Jordan Poyer in free agency to do that. And that leaves John Johnson in this weird spot where he's not really useful for the money that he's being paid. So he's probably going to be looking for a new job next year. All right, this next question comes from GasholeTV, who says, do the Browns need to look at a replacement for Jed Wills? Every week, y'all, every week I get a Jed Wills question, and I don't get it. I really don't get it. I understand that Jed Wills has bad body language. I understand that you can cut up 2 plays every game where Jed Wills looks like he doesn't do the right thing, or he looks like he's being lazy or whatever. But that's just not the case. As much as it is being made to seem out there. Jed Wills is a fine left tackle. He is somebody who can start for most teams. He's not a Pro Bowl level guy. He's definitely not all pro, but he's right below it, right? The same way the Bengals are going to probably hang on to Jonah Williams until they have to pay him, is the same kind of range that Jed Wills is at. And that's fine. It's literally what you drafted him to be. But for whatever reason this year, there's been a fascination with calling Jed Wills terrible. And look, I get sometimes he reacts to it, so more people want to troll him. But it's just, I'm tired of it. Jed's a fine tackle. He has had great games the last few weeks, but everybody consistently stays up his ass about everything that he does. And I think at this point it's unfair, quite frankly, that everybody is focusing on this dude. And my cat does too. So she's popping up for Jed Wills too. So y'all leave Jed Wills alone, man. So I got to answer no more Jed Wills questions. He's fine at left tackle. There's other problems on this team that are worth talking about other than damn Jed Wills, y'all. Stop asking me about Jed Wills. All right, the next question comes from SHSL, who says, hey Q, I've said multiple times that Cleveland should stick with Kevin, but should we consider firing Kevin if we're meant to get a proven winner like Stefanski? I mean, not Stefanski, Sean Payton, Dan Quinn, or Jim Harbaugh? I know you meant Harbaugh, but it's spelled Harbaugh. What, like, a proven winner in Dan Quinn in the same sentence is crazy. Like, I would not fire my coach to hire Dan Quinn. Like, did that really work was he in Atlanta? It didn't work in Atlanta. You know what I mean? And Jim Harbaugh, I just don't see it. I'm not a big fan of Jim Harbaugh. I know he's had recent success at Michigan, but like, I know that his players come out of college very poorly coached. And Sean Payton, look, you got to give up a first round pick to get Sean Payton, and the Browns don't have first round picks for the next 2 years, so that's off the table. No, I would not get rid of Kevin Stefanski, a coach of the year, to get rid of somebody who's on the same caliber as him as Dan Quinn. Like, Dan Quinn's on the same caliber as Kevin Stefanski, quite frankly. And so is Jim Harbaugh, right? Like, Jim Harbaugh hasn't really done anything that Kevin hasn't, other than, like, both those guys have been to a Super Bowl. But you can hire a ton of coaches who have been to a Super Bowl. That don't mean nothing. You want to hire Lovie Smith? He's been to a Super Bowl. Don't mean a thing. Jim Caldwell. You want to hire Jim Caldwell? He's been to a Super Bowl. Means absolutely nothing. So no, those guys aren't proven winners. And honestly, like, what's a proven winner, right? Ron Rivera is a proven winner. And this dude was at the press conference talking about he didn't know a game that he coached in was a must win to get into the playoffs. Proven winner though, right? That means nothing. If you're going to get rid of Kevin, you need to make sure it's a slam dunk home run. Like, that's Sean Payton, right? If you get Sean Payton, okay, I get it. I'm not going to be like the most giant fan of it, but I get it. You know what I mean? Like, that makes sense. But if you're not getting Sean Payton, it ain't worth it. It gets no damn Quinn or Jim Harbaugh. But thank you for the question, though. Appreciate that. Everybody else, y'all have a great day. Have a good night. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below.